I'm shocked. This is totally shocking. This is the last thing I expected to see on one of the most hyped meetings at the White House in history.
And I think love fest.
What?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, a lot of political pundits probably never expected this would be the outcome. It was not just cordial. You saw President Trump actually complimentary.
Guys, I could not wait to see the fallout after the meeting between President Donald Trump and Zohran Momdani, whatever it is. And I tell you what, this blindsided me because I expected this to be the fight of the century. And as it turns out, we just might have witnessed the most unlikely partnership in the history of this country that started out with President Trump congratulating Zohran and giving him his full support.
News, you are looking at live pictures right now out of the White House. You can see President Trump right there as our camera settle down, and you can see New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Momdani standing there with him. The two have just met.
Thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people. Great mayor. The better he does, the happier I am, I will say. There's no difference in party. There's no difference in anything. And we're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true, having a strong and very safe New York. And congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Holy cow. So he starts out by saying there's no difference in party and they are going to work together. Shocker. How about that? So what the heck did they talk about? Let's listen to what Zohran said about what they discussed during the meeting.
Life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Looking forward to working together. Whoever would have predicted that that would have come out of his mouth after he said he was going to be Trump's worst nightmare. Now, the next comment that you're going to hear from President Trump will really shock you. I didn't see this coming either. Let's listen.
It's a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually. And some very liberal people he won't surprise them because they already like him.
He's going to surprise some conservatives. So Donald Trump is speaking positively that Zohran Momdani is going to surprise some conservative people. But you know what? It's interesting what happens when you do find common ground, when you lay aside all of the political discord, that you can get some things done. And Trump said it all. People change. He admitted that he himself has changed. And of course, Zohran has had to change. After 90% of what he promised during the campaign, he's already abandoned. But he did what he had to do. That guy is slick. That young man has a silver tongue. But now it sounds like he's living in reality. So the next part is really wow. Okay, they're going to bring up Momdani's insults on Trump, and then we'll see what his reaction was.
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's it's not that insulting. But maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
I tell you what, Trump's got like thick skin, like an alligator, like a dadgum elephant. He has elephant skin. That's amazing. He just doesn't let stuff get to him. So they shift the focus to the common ground and helping the people that are really struggling. That's something else. Instead of focusing on all the insults that we were listening to up until this point. Okay, so next they touch on peace in the Middle East. This was interesting, but not surprising, knowing that Donald Trump has made a lot of alignments with the leaders in the Middle East. So let's listen to what they had to say about that.
Another thing I think we have in common, we want to see peace in the Middle East, and we actually have now for the first time peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years, and now we're going to refine it, and I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
Well, I got to admit that is one thing that is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to get, that both of them would want peace in the Middle East. I mean, Trump is anti-war, and even though all of the Free Palestine nuts who have Trump derangement syndrome that don't want to give him any credit for stopping the war, both of them, Trump and Zohran, that's a big thing that they have in common, which tells me they probably will be able to work together. But then the next thing they have in common really surprised me. Let's check that out. This is good. Check this out.
I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East. I think
We desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again two major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
you said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
Now, I'll admit, I haven't thought about the fact that a lot of people who voted for Trump also voted for Zohran. I can't even fit that in my mind. But after watching this whole interview, I can kind of understand it. Because when Trump won the first time, he was the outsider. Okay, so Zohran comes in like what? The outsider who has no experience in government. Same as Trump. So now the light bulb kind of comes on. But next, check this out. The subject of ICE comes up. And I was like, oh, this is one it's going to get ugly at this point. But then the answer surprised me.
Right.
In New York City, Mr. Momdani called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues.
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out, maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
So during the campaign, Zohran kind of was alluding to the fact that he was going to start a war with Trump, that it was going to be New York City versus the federal government. And so in my mind, I'm thinking this is going to be worse than Portland and worse than Chicago. And then we hear this, that they might be able to figure out a way to work together because they both want crime to be gone. In fact, at some point in the interview, Zohran confirmed that he is not reducing the number of the 35,000 on the police force. So it probably is possible that they might be able to come to an agreement and work together about these illegals and ICE raids. Okay, so next they talk about working on the cost of living in partnership. Let's give that a listen.
Well, I actually told the president that, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often, politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focus on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
Okay, I got to hand it to Zohran, the slick man, the slick talker. That was a pretty good answer. So they can find common ground, even though they got different ideas of how they want to bring down the cost of living and help people in the city. But now it's going to get dicey. Well, it could have gotten dicey because one of the reporters brought up a question about Zohran calling Trump a fascist. Whoa. Now, I would have thought that would have been it. It's going to turn ugly, just like that time when J.D. Vance and Trump had Zelensky at the White House and they double teamed on him. But check out how Trump handles this. This will shock you out of your shoes. Listen to this.
I'm clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yes.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
What?
I wanted to ask you
What did I just see? Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Trump let him off the hook, patted him on the back, and gave him permission to call him a fascist. Didn't see that coming. Wow. Completely speechless. Wow. But they weren't done yet because the next reporter brings up Elise Stefanik calling him a jihadist and asks Trump, are you standing next to a jihadist? And the answer will surprise you. And then he's going to wrap it up and you won't believe how much he is in support of this guy when you hear the closing comments. Let's check that out.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran-Momdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't. But she's out there campaigning, and you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that a kind of
you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. You know, when I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along. And it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
So what do we learn from this? Expectations. We have expectations, and sometimes you can end up in complete shock and surprise. You just never know what Donald Trump is going to do next. We all thought this would be a complete disaster, a total fail. And then he turns this person that should be a mortal enemy into a potential top-notch ally? Holy smokes. So then my question is, why can't Mayor Brandon the Jackass Johnson sit down with this man and do the same thing? Why can't J.B. Pritzker sit down with Trump and do the same thing? Why can't half the people in the Senate and the House of Representatives that are constantly fighting back and forth, why can't they accomplish this? Why can't all of the Democrats and Republicans get together and put the focus on solving the problems and not this same stupid political division? I think they need to make a workshop out of this interview to teach all of the idiot Republican and idiot Democrat political big mouths who can't seem to get anything done. But they need to make a course out of this and teach them how to work together and focus on what our needs are. Do you agree with that? Do you think that this is something that all politicians in the United States need to learn from. Post it in the comments and let me know what you think and if you were shocked with the outcome of this meeting. That's all I got for this one. Whew, this is Carlton, and I'm out.